Hi everyone, it's time for another episode of Stars and Startups with me, Varun Bhumidi. On this episode, we catch up with Snehil Kanor, currently the CEO of Truly Madly, a dating app where he started off first, interestingly, as part of the founding team. Snail, in the interim, went on to do some exciting things, including founding Find Yahan, which was acquired by Zimber. Consulting for other popular internet brands, creating apps for Bharat, Snail shares his journey from the beginning and also discusses the dating space. Hope you enjoy the show. Let's get started. Awesome. Hey, Snail, thanks for coming on the podcast. This is unprecedented time. Seems like you're on a standing desk. Is that your setup?
It is kind of a yes. So it's a I have a sitting desk, I have a standing desk, but I have a shoulder pain also. So it's not very convenient for me to be in one position because up standing way you keep on also sitting way you keep on slouching your your posture and I have a very bad posture which has given me a very bad pain also. But so I try to do I try to do my calls standing up.
Awesome. So, in an unprecedented time, you're the CEO of Truly Madly, and
Yes.
there is a lot that has got you to this moment where you've taken on the role to run this business. So,
Yes.
um, I think our interaction goes back many years to 2013 when I was doing giftology, and you're one of the
Actually, yes,
people.
13. I think mid of 13.
That's right. So a lot has changed in the world of Snehil Kanor, and a lot has changed in the world
Yeah,
in general. While to give
and
our,
with Varun, a lot of change with the world of Varun also. Other than the hair, though, hair remains the
I
same.
don't, I keep telling people I sport this hairstyle since I was born. So, theek hai na.
Yeah, actually, now it is getting mainstream though,
Yeah,
and
I'm
I think
always,
in coming times we'll see it more getting mainstream because Joby, people will try to do it themselves, and if one thing goes wrong, okay, man, let's do it. Let's you know
is the cheapest
so
form
let's
of.
copy Varun's hairstyle.
Oh, that's right. I'm
Grooming.
the trendsetter. Always been ahead of the curve.
Exactly, yes. Sometimes 30 years.
That's right. Hey, why don't you take us through your journey, your personal journey? I know you've done some amazing things. You've started a company called Find Yaha. You were consulting with a bunch of folks. A lot of these companies you work with got acquired by some larger companies. You've seen really the ups and downs of the real Indian ecosystem in terms of startups. So, why don't you
Yeah.
give a small introduction to Snehal and your career path and what has brought you to Truly Madly? And of course, link it back to you were part of the founding team at Truly Madly and now you're the CEO. So we'd love to hear that journey.
Yeah, so काफी I think if we now look back and connect the dots, काफी सारी चीजें काफी हद तक connected हैं, right? It all starts when I think I was in my 10th standard, so 2004 or 5, I guess. So when I was 14-year-old. Uh, so I along with a friend of mine called Weber. So we got introduced to this, and actually thanks to Weber, I got introduced to internet, the world of internet, and he started learning programming and doing a bunch of cool stuff on HTML and CSS and creating some web pages or blogs, and that got me also interested, and I also started learning it. And then we kind of as a team, we both of us, we started doing some projects just for fun. We were so he's I think 2-3 years younger than me, so I was I think 14, 15, he was 13, right? He's 1 or 2 year old, so he's my uh, old school, childhood school friend. We used to, and how we met, and if you have to really connect that way back, how we met was that when I was in second standard, and I think he was in first, or I was in third, or he was in first standard. So when during exams, two classes used to sit together, right? So he was my benchmate during the exam, and I helped him in his exam in 2 or 3. I think I told him the spelling of either stitching or a sewing machine, right? And so this was us in second, third standard, and he in I think first standard. So that's how we are connected, and then we started doing all sort of this internet stuff. I remember, I think Gmail was just out at that point of time, and you could only get it via invite. In social networks, there used to be this thing called Orkut. Facebook, even though was invented, wasn't heard of in India till then. In fact, the Indian people didn't start using Facebook properly until 2008, which was, I think, first year of my college.
So did you
Right.
and
So
Vaibhav get started on code? Like, what did you guys do first?
yeah, so we started we actually we did a bunch of stuff, including some stuff which we didn't know was not actually legal. Uh, that was kind of, so we what we did was, our uh, primary use case for using internet at that point of time used to be movies and music, right? So I
So you're
we
talking
created a
about
website. So
LimeWire,
we
Napster.
Yes, yes. So we created a website called mp3street.org, which was, nothing but a portal for you to search songs, and then you can download it, right? And then we also created a social network called Lfollow. And actually, the name of the Lfollow is also interesting, because how we kept that name was, we both were kind of Brian fan at that point of time. And there is this song by him called All for Love, right?
Okay.
So all for love, say we made Lfollow. And so we wanted to make it everything that Orkut wasn't, right? Because we started hating Orkut. We thought, there is a we need to create a new social network for ourselves. And coincidentally, people started using it. Not a lot, obviously. We were a bunch of foolish kids. And then one fine day, our server was seized by by our server provider, because and then we got to know, okay, we cannot let other people download music for free. That's not legal. Right?
So you got
So
shut down by
and
the
that's,
provider? You
yeah,
got
we
shut
got
down by
shut
the
down by the
provider.
provider. All our files seized, all our code gone. And at that point of time, there was no Git or anything, and we didn't really used to have a backup processes and things. And we lost Lfollow, kind of, right? We had some code on Go, but then we realized, okay, do we need, because, and then by that point of time, there was Facebook had already come in our lives, right? And they thought, yeah, Facebook is good, okay, right? So we don't need another social network. We are fine. So we didn't create another social network. But but now, after that, most of my life has been going towards creating a social network. Truly Madly is kind of a social network, right?
Absolutely.
So it started back then. And then we started another company called Websell, which was we used to do service projects for others. We had our own products. We had a product called IFA, which was Internet Identity for All. And we used to sell it to our some seniors of our college or our university. And the pitch used to be, uh, you are going to sit for placements in third year end or fourth year. Instead of a cool boy Varun32 at the rate yahoo.com, why don't you get a mail me at the rate snailkhanor.com, or mail me at the rate varun dot in, whatever, right? So and the website will be kind of a one page resume of yours, which you can very easily edit yourself. And these are the days when internet as a technology was also evolving. Ajax was just new in our lives. jQuery was just new in our lives, right? So a lot of cool internet, web stuff you can right now do on web wasn't really possible back then. And we still somehow came up with using Ajax, we came up with a WYSIWYG kind of an editor, where you just click on the area where you want to edit the text. Imagine opening a website, clicking there and editing it. So that's a tool that we created. And the idea was that we'll sell it, and the pitch used to be you can get it for less than a cigarette a day, because I think cigarette used to be at 5 rupees per cigarette at that point of time, right? So our pitch to seniors used to be, you can get it with this low amount, 5 rupees per day, I think, whatever it's 5 into 365, whatever it is, right? So, but then a lot of the work was with servicing, and that's when I realized I was not really cut out for doing service businesses. And because just I think it was third year of my college, and I was not really happy and enjoying what I was spending most of my time doing. It was client calls, and Indian clients even now and back then were very difficult, man. It used to be exhausting, right? And so I decided to quit. I moved on. Then just at that point of time, I was finishing my third year of college, and I had to do some internship. So I, got internship with Let's Buy, and it was supposed to be a 6 week internship. And it's 2011, right? Third year of my college just got finished. I
Let's Buy
joined Let's
was
Buy.
a big daddy in terms of electronics, e-commerce, right?
At that, yes, sure, at that point of time, yes, because this is 2011, 2012, right? And it was growing really big. It had, got investment from Tiger, Excel, and Helion, I think. Yeah, these were the three, which also were invested in Flipkart. And then I think I joined there for a 6 week internship as a PHP developer. But the product head there, he poached me into the product team early, and in the first week itself, I had just written some PHP APIs for our mobile site back then. And then in July of 2011, I launched a mobile site for Let's Buy. And mobile as a product, a lot of smartphones were just evolving back then. There was not a lot of smartphone usage. Mobile apps and mobile sites were really new concept, right? Mobile product development was a really new concept, right? Then
Yeah, there
I
were not
launched
even
a
mobile
mobile app.
penetration. Even mobile penetration at that
Even
time
mobile
wasn't.
penetration, yes, exactly, very very low. Mobile penetration, even digital payments was, उस टाइम पे आई थिंक एक क्या हुआ CCAvenue और TPSL हुआ करते थे, right? You would know you have had a good experience in payment gateways, and they used to be very, मतलब उस टाइम वो भी evolve कर रहे थे, right? Along with the logistics, along with the payment gateways, everything in the ecosystem was evolving, and we were growing. Everybody was growing together, right? And then
So you joined for a internship at Let's Buy, and then you moved into
yes, then
the.
after 6 months, yeah. So after it was supposed to be a 6 week internship. After six weeks, the head of HR and the product head, they told me, if you can, you can keep coming as a consultant. And that's how I accidentally became a consultant. Before that, I didn't know what a consultant meant. So for me, consultant means, okay, it's a part-time work which you can, without being an employee of a company, you can work with multiple companies. And so it sounded very cool to me. And luckily, Let's Buy had shifted to Gurgaon office behind the Airtel building. And my college cab used to go from that, because my college was in rural Gurgaon, right? Sohna Palwal Road. I daily used to go from Vikaspuri to there in a cab, and so I just got down. And sometimes I would, earlier we would, when we would bunk the college, we would get down on Ambience. This time it was just a few kilometers ahead. Instead of dropping down at Ambience, I used to drop down at the Airtel building, then cross it and go to office. And then on the way back, the cab would pick me up again, right? So I used to stay in cab, and so more than half of my fourth year, I worked. I 3 days I came here, and 2 days and in fact I came here 4 days. Even though what was expected of me was 3 days in a week, I used to go four, because college I okay going only just 2 days also, right? And it was fourth year. It was not that attendance was important, but it was not that important. If you had a valid excuse, our college would entertain it.
So you were
Right?
a college kid.
But then one sad thing happened, huh?
You were a college kid, and now Let's Buy wants you as a consultant to work with them on the product. How did that happen?
Yes, उस टाइम पे तो सोचा नहीं इतना, मतलब I don't think I gave it a lot of thought, because another a tragedy happened, because in just after this, when I had joined them as a consultant, my result for third year came. So sixth semester result for sixth semester came. Before that, I never had any back or supply, as we used to call it. In that particular semester, I got 4 out of 6, right? And I was like, okay, what just happened, right? And according to me, those were my best exams, right? I really studied, and I really did my best. And suddenly I am failing in 4 out of 6 subjects, right? And then I filed a reevaluation for all 4 subjects. One of them got cleared, so I had to. So along with my fourth year, along with the Letby, in my 4th year, and another bad luck happened was that earlier our university allowed that you can retake your 6th semester exam in 7th also, but they came up with the even odd rule that only even semesters can be given in even and odd can be given in odd, right? So I had now just one chance in 8th semester if I have to complete my engineering in 4 years, right? So I have to clear, I think 5/6 of 4th semester and 3 of these. So I had to take around, 8, 9 subjects in one go, but luckily I cleared it. And, again, with minimal studying, the only semester I studied the most, I failed, right? So I think that's the lesson of the moral of the story here. Uh, and always just read what the book says, because the evolution is going to happen on what the book says. Doesn't matter what's new in the world, if internet fundamental technology has changed drastically since then, doesn't matter. What's in the book is what scores. Because I was a computer science student, right? And I was not doing it. And I think
It's kind of ironic.
I
It's kind of ironic.
and actually, one thing that happened was I was seriously thinking of dropping out, right? But that event made me like, no, now I cannot drop out, because now it was personal, right? Yeah, so we have to do it, right? So I
No,
think, and that I think in hindsight was good, because it would have been a really foolish decision to drop out. And as you asked, you're a third-year student and you got a let's say I think I generally go with the flow of the universe, and I think that's the flow that took me there. But then in March of 2012, when I was studying for my final semester, uh, February of 2012, in fact, Flipkart acquired Let's Buy. Then by the end of May, when my exams ended, they were like, we need to shift base to Bangalore, and whoever wants to, keep working with the company will have to move to Bangalore. And I was like, I don't want to move to Bangalore. Plus, you know, once you spend your so many uh, months thinking of them as the rival, and I thought, I cannot really go and work with them, right? So and I never sat for any placements also, so which also was a huge a problem with the at the house, because I was supposed to be the only bread earning member after my college, right? And when my mom got to know I never sat for placements, it was a bit of a but I told him that I have a plan. It's not, don't worry. I am pretty sure I will earn much more than whatever those most of the people in placements which they'll get, because worst to worst I'll do services again. Yeah, it's okay. Right? But thank God वो ऐसा कुछ नहीं करना पड़ा. And then after that happened, Flipkart shut down. That's why we moved to started thinking along with the founders of Let's Buy, actually, with Mr. Hitesh Dhingra, Amanpreet Bajaj, Manish Ved, we started thinking what to do next, right? So at that point of time, the working title was Let's Marry, right? So and we started thinking, how other classifieds can, like how LinkedIn is disrupting Naukri, what other classifieds can be disrupted in the same way, and we thought of services and matrimony, right? तो मैट्रिमनी से जो आइडिया निकल के आया, दैट वाज ट्रूली मैडली, वर्किंग टाइटल उस टाइम पे लेट्स मैरी का. एंड देन फाइंडिया वाज फ्रॉम द आइडिया ऑफ सर्विसेज, right? That how we can modernize the service classifieds, because if you remember, at that point in time, a lot of classified in newspaper used to be very popular and very useful also, because Just Dial was, I think, the only alternative back then, and Just Dial itself was at a verge of needing disruption, right? So that's how those two things came along. And then the discussions around Let's Marry, those started in July of 2012, but kind of died down by September. And but then Harish Bell connected, I think, Sachin and Hitesh, that you guys are thinking on the similar idea. Why not join forces? and then that's how the discussion around Truly Madly started, right? And then we met in October, November, and then January 2013 we started working on Truly Madly, right? We started conceptualizing the product, hiring the team, and then we launched the application finally in Feb of 2014. But Findia I was doing parallelly, and I was also parallelly doing a bunch of consulting, right? So consulting at that point of time used to be, the bread earner for me, because uh, I was not earning a lot from obviously Findia. I was giving most of my time and was not, earning any salary or anything else from there. Then that's how we met, right? We I think Giftology was one of the first few projects I signed up for. I think first was Printland, and then after Printland we started working on Truly Madly actually, and then there was Giftology. Then I think Nikhil was the one who reached out to me on LinkedIn, and that's how we got connected, right? Then there was a bunch of other startups like Rutba. It was a fashion commerce. Then Kimaya, again a high-end fashion commerce. Then there was Free Culture. There was a lot of portals which we may not even know about now. So that I think gave me a very good perspective on, and even right now, I feel so at that point of time also everybody used to tell me, focus on one thing and uh, don't go too wide. But I think even though I think there was good advice, and when I tried myself, tried to not let myself go very wide. But at the same time, I thought doing multiple things simultaneously gave me a lot of perspective, right? Because even in my skills, if you ask me, I think products, then marketing, then technology, right? So I can do all three, but in that order, right? And last will be obviously finance because I suck at it, right? Now in fact I'm starting to learn a bit about it with my fintech spice, where I got to work on the GST pipeline, GST product, the backend behind the whole GST network, and then the Umang. There I got a lot of perspective around tech and service also, right? So and then
Was it
in 20 huh?
so with at this time you're still building Find Yaham, and
Yeah,
that
so
was
in
your main
2014 we are
project.
still building. That was the main project. I was consulting on site to earn some money, right? Then 20. I think in 2016 beginning, Feb of 2016, Zimber acquired Findia,
So
right?
can you tell us more about Find Yaham? What is the learnings there, and how did the acquisition happen?
Yeah, so Findia, I think, was at a. So we started a home service, app where, and most of the services were, white collar services such as uh, dietitian, caterer, yoga teacher, physical trainer, uh, cook. So some, these kind of services which are mostly recurring services, and the idea was that. If you have to get a caterer, if you have to organize a birthday party for your kid, you'll have to do so many research and calls, and this time pe just dial was the option. You would put your number as just dial, you will get unlimited number of calls. So that was the whole idea was it should be convenient. It should be as a generation we don't want to get on a lot of calls. I think that was very clear, and I think that was the era of solo mo, social location and mobile, right? So, Solomo, hyperlocal, those were the buzzwords, right? And I think we found ourselves at a very interesting point in the ecosystem that 2014, 2015, Indian startup ecosystem just shifted from revenue doesn't matter to revenue matters, right? Because before that, all the VCs we used to meet doesn't matter, revenue doesn't matter. I remember one investor, a VC. I don't, I will not take their name. There was this, some kind of a conference in NSE, some startup NSE, something was happening, right? A curious guy asked, what is the threshold revenue that you look at before you decide on investing in a startup? And he said, that doesn't matter. Our star company is housing, which has zero revenue till date. And so obviously this was pre, 2015. And so that's how I think that was one of the pivotal changes that the startup ecosystem uh, went through at that point of time. And at that point of time, we were also kind of we did the same mistake because we were also not focusing on the revenue in Pioneer. We were focusing on the product. We were focusing on the service, and we knew that it is not going to make a lot of revenue right now because uh, it was a very kind of a thing which we have to train the customer also to use it. You have to train the provider also to provide it, right? So Zimber was doing similar services, but more in uh, uh, blue collar services. Plumber, electrician, carpenter was their best performing categories. And what they guys had done was like really amazing, which I could not even think of, because they went ahead to the homes of plumbers and electricians and carpenters. The founders themselves used to go, and they would convince them, and they would teach them, and they would enlighten them to use a mobile app for livelihood, right? 2014-15 it started, I think, right? And अब we बहुत normal लगता है because we see a lot of people using mobile all the time. But at that point of time, imagine I used to think, yeah, like कितना सही है. A carpenter would have never in thought, electrician would have never in his life would have thought that I will earn from a mobile app, right? So it was actually a very game changing thing. But then so Zimber acquired us in early 16, but then by the end of 16 uh, the thing, it Quicker was about to acquire Zimber. That thing started. And I think uh, that's when uh, I was like, okay, I'm done with service industry, because my assessment was it is going to take some more time for Indian users to start paying for convenience.
So what do you think about
Right?
Urban Clap then?
Yeah, so I think from a rival, so I still don't order anything from Flipkart till date. I think almost negligible orders from Flipkart, right? But Urban Clap, I am a very heavy user. Yeah, now I use I think it's been more than a year I haven't gone to a salon for a haircut. It's always salon at home for me via Urban Clap. And same with the massage, because of my shoulder pain. I get a massage every 15 days from Urban Clap. They're pretty good trained. They come with a good setup and very well. And then you can choose a person to repeat the services from the same person always. So so actually the whole assessment was that it is going to be a last man standing game. Urban Clap has enough arsenal to be the last man standing, and they were really kind of doing it also really well. So I thought कि okay, अब बहुत ज़्यादा time मैं इस industry में नहीं लगाने वाला. So I went back. In fact I went for a backpacking trip across North India.
So you
think it was
went,
over a month.
you drove from Mumbai, right? You drove all the way from Mumbai to everywhere, or did you actually just
Yes,
backpack?
actually. So for Zimber, for Zimber, I had to move to Mumbai from Delhi, right? And I lived there for a little less than a year. And then I think when I was moving back, I along with two of my friends, Akshay and Anuj, we drove back to Delhi because my car came also up via on the road. At that point of time, my driver and my mother and a friend of my mother, they came and they had a nice journey on the way. So we so Udaipur is a perfect midpoint for Mumbai to Delhi, right? So we stayed a night at Udaipur. It was amazing, and actually Udaipur became one of my favorite city in India.
It's a gorgeous
And I have been
place.
to Udaipur I think twice after that.
So, but
Huh?
this is not when you
I
backpack.
lost your
So
voice.
This is not when you backpacked, right? This is
Yes.
this was
No,
your.
no, this is a few months before that. So this is a few months before that. This is November, but then I was back again in Udaipur for the New Year during my backpack. So I started my journey from Delhi. I went to Pushkar. Then from Pushkar to I went to Jodhpur, Jaisalmer, Udaipur, Mandu, which is near Indore. Then Bedaghat, which is near Jabalpur, Varanasi, Agra, and Delhi. So it was a whole circuit, right? And it was very random. Whatever bus or train we would get, we will just catch it and go on, right? And in fact, it was me and Akshay. I think you know Akshay, right?
Uh,
Akshay Dua.
yeah, you had, we had spoken once, correct? He was doing something
Yeah.
interesting as well.
Yes. So he's in FMCG now. Akshay and I started this journey, and then we met this fella, young Min Lee, a South Korean guy in Jaisalmer during Christmas, right? And then he joined us in the journey, and rest of the 15 days he was with us, and he came to my home, and then found out, oh, his visa is about to expire the next day, and then he had to rush back. Uh, so that was also an interesting. But another interesting thing which happened during this trip was that in Jaisalmer, in the hostel, I met a group of four people from Delhi. One of them was couple, and while talking to them, I found out they met on Truly Madly, right? And then another, a guy and a girl, the friends who were there. The girl also got married via Truly Madly a few years later, right?
Oh, wow.
And I got in touch with this girl in this February, and she told me, so that girl who was on the trip, her ex flatmate is from Gurgaon, her husband's older brother, and her husband's younger brother is set to get married in end of 2020, right? So we are the official matchmaker of that family, right? And so this was 2016, and we got connected, and that was, I think, one of the first person I would randomly bump into whom met on Truly Madly, right? And I think now if I go to a large big enough gathering and I don't get to meet anyone who met via Truly Madly, I get a little sad now. But yeah.
So that's a great segue for us. So how did you end up at Truly Madly? So you went backpacking, you did all these fun things, and when this couple spoke to you and they said, "Hey, Truly Madly was a real matchmaker for us," did something spark in you saying, "I need to go
Not
back and do
really. Whose
something"?
time? No, no. So it was so I because now we are connecting the dots. Then now. But at that point of time, ऐसा कुछ नहीं सोचा था मैंने. In fact, I was thinking of a travel startup, which I want to do, which I wanted to do, and that was the reason I was on this backpacking trip. It was kind of a thinking trip for me. And then I came back with a concept, and in fact, what are you saying?
I was just saying Recce for they say.
Yes, actually, yes. So and then I got an idea. I explored it a while, and then I pitched it to Sachin actually, and he got very excited. Then he said, "Ki game hai, and figure it out, make a business plan." But I could not make a good business plan. And then one thing that I had learned was, yeah, revenue to zaruri hai, right? If there is no revenue, there is no point of doing it. So even though I love that idea, and I think sometime in life I'll get that implemented, but there was no monetization in it, because backpackers, they don't spend a lot. My whole trip, I think, costed me $32,000, right? Out of which 18,000 was for food, right? So almost a 30-day trip, and you're living the best time of your life in 30,000 a month, right? So that's a very, and that's what I have observed. A lot of backpackers, they even if they have money, they won't spend it, because that's when you're on a backpacking trip, the agenda is very different, right? The agenda is how you can survive with the minimum. So I figured, yeah, it's very different. And then other party which could have been monetized was this, hostels. And us time pe hostel culture was just booming up, right? There was a bunch of hostels. There were no other. Now I think there are more than 500 hostels, or much more in India. And that point of time, I think I have a diary somewhere, which the list was like limited. I had all the hostels written down, right? But then even they didn't have a lot of money to give away. so the I कि उनके लिए कुछ बना के बुक माई शो की तरह कुछ कर लेते, but वहां भी नहीं था. तो I decided यार I won't be even I wouldn't even be able to recover my own opportunity cost. So I dropped the idea, and I started thinking again. Then I got approached by Spice Group. It's a Modi Group company, Spice Mobile, and then I joined them as a innovation head. And then I I got to work on two very interesting projects. One was the GST. GST was being launched. Spice was one of the 16 GSTs of India, and we were given the responsibility of creating a tech layer over the hard, tech backend that Infosys was developing for GST, called GSTN, and we were to make additional software layers on top of it. But then, another project came, which was Umang. Umang was a PMO-driven project. It was launched by PM Modi himself in 2017 November, and I led a team to run that project. It's a one single app with all state and central government services. I think right now it has less than 500 services, but in next 3 to 4 years, the idea is to have more than 1200 services in one single app, and it's very widely used across local India, right? And it has in 13 local languages, and very, very widely used. One of the only government app with, I think, more than 4.5 star rating at that scale. And वो लगता था देख के, वो कोई feel open है, you won't feel it like a government सरकारी app. Right? That was the whole idea. And उसमें I got to work with a lot of interesting stakeholders.
I mean, I think
Ministry of IT.
Umang has about 10 million downloads. That's incredible. And still has a
So yeah, once we were pitching to the Dubai government, the similar product, and they were amazed. I think at that point of time, 8 million downloads थे, या 6 million downloads थे. Their total population is less than that, Dubai की, right? And I think 10 million तो वहाँ पे दिखा रहा है, so it is a bigger than 10 million वो, because वो range होता है 10 to 100 या 10 to 50, right? अब वो अगली बार 50 से जाके change होगा. तो काफी 1-2 साल पहले 8 million थे, तो I am assuming काफी ज़्यादा हो गए होंगे.
Hey guys, I just wanted to let you know about Wellmo. That's the startup that I run. We enable small businesses and startups to access an affordable health insurance program via our online platform app.wellmo.in. I will leave the link in show notes. You can check us out. You can add your employees, get set up right there on our dashboard on wellmo.in.
How do you build a product? I mean, this is for Bharat and plus, right? You have a lot of different stakeholders in this segment. How do you build something for this scale and working with government organizations? I'm just looking at some of the stuff that they have, right? They have EPFO, crop insurance, ORS, a lot of different.
It was a fairly complicated. It was a fairly complicated project for me, and especially when all the fun part was over and it became kind of again a service thing, because once all the baseline stuff was done, it was more of a factory where we are just opening up new departments we are working with each department had an IT department, and we would sometimes they would have APIs, sometimes they would not have APIs. In those cases they would give us the database access and we would write the APIs for them. But for each department we had multiple stakeholders talking, and then we were our client was Ministry of IT, MIT, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and from a at that point of time, from a vendor perspective, they would वो लगा के रखते थे हमारी, right? But from a citizen perspective, I used to feel very happy कि यार जैसा हम सोचते हैं या दिखता है कि यार सरकार तो ऐसे ही काम चलाओ काम कराती है, and a very big contribution because the product इतना अच्छा है वो उन लोगों का है, because they were so strict and they were so demanding कि इसकी ऐसा होना चाहिए, ये ऐसा होना चाहिए, and so much so that sometimes they would not listen कि यार हमारी नहीं गलती, वो डिपार्टमेंट की तरफ से ही ऐसा है, which used to be the case most of the time, right? But okay, वो तो है ही, मतलब वो तो ऐसे ही, मतलब उसमें क्या है, फिर तो मुझे सॉल्व करना है, क्यों लिया था प्रोजेक्ट, right?
What's interesting?
From a citizen perspective,
what's interesting is when I met you around this time, working at Spice and building all these apps.
Oh yes, you came. Exactly, you came. Which month was that? You came to the Spice office, right, to meet me once.
I believe I was just at that point, and I was
I think at
maybe
that point of
working.
time I was working on GST.
Yeah, I think you just moved away from Umang, or you were doing Umang on the side. But there was this one thing that really impressed me when you were working at Spice was you said, Varun, if I do anything from here on, it will be for Bharat. This is where I want to work.
Yeah,
This is super exciting, and just the impact that I have on this audience is, the delta is massive, right? Because nobody at that time was building for this audience. Now with
yeah,
Geo and a bunch of other services, you're obviously seeing a lot more products being created. But one thing that really impressed me,
yeah,
even with what you want to do next, I know it didn't necessarily pan out to be product for Bharat, but
yeah.
just connecting the dots. So um,
Oh, the Truly Badly will become a product for Bharat. You just wait.
go on, please tell us.
It's going to take some time. No, it will take some to like see. Truly Badly is a long-term plan. It's a the industry will explode 2 years down the line, right? And in terms of masses, right? Uh, and I think to by it will be multilingual. It will be youth is in the Bharat, right?
So
And
we'll get to that in the next segment. So just
yes,
to cap off your time at Umang, you were just talking about how the government kind of enabled you also to get most of their IT teams, etc. Uh, so any learnings that you had just working with these folks?
yeah, I think it gave me a lot of perspective that how things actually work at at such scale of a country or a because when you are sitting with the big IAS officers and the people how they are uh, telling what kind of because the app would get reviewed by PMO and sometimes Mr. Modi himself and the feedback would travel right so you get to not only get a unique perspective of that how on that level they view things and how quickly they are able to point out problems or hurdles and or the way they would solve it for example I remember once we were struggling with some translation and the only two options to translate some things in real time were either Google or CDAC. So CDAC has a lot of translations libraries, which CDAC is a central government, I think, institution, right? So the this guy who was heading the this project, I think I don't remember. I am very bad at posts, so he made two calls right there. One I think to somewhere someone who would talk to the Google office. Second, who would directly to the CDAC guy. And I think the problem got solved within few hours on a Sunday, right? And it was a Sunday. Yeah, so from a citizen perspective, it was very amazing. From a vendor servicing perspective, it was a little challenging. And learnings, I think, most biggest learning with the whole Spice stint was perspective. I think those uh, because Spice was involved in a lot of mass Bharat products. For example, Spice Money was one of the products, right? So when you would see the data and when you would see what is the actual on ground user, what are their challenges, how can they be solved? It's a I think scale to अलग perspective जो चाहिए होता है that was there. So I learned a lot about how nations work, how governments work, how departments work, how and from product you ask how do you make such a product. सर इस वाले केस में तो it was a very big RFP, right? कि ये चाहिए and उसको हम कुछ उसको मॉडिफाई कराया कि नहीं ये ऐसे करोगे तो ये गलत हो जाएगा ऐसे नहीं करो इसको ऐसे करो एंड फॉर एग्जांपल हाइब्रिड क्यों ऐप को हाइब्रिड बनाना क्यों जरूरी है बिकॉज इतने सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स लाइव करने तो हर बार हम बस ऐप ही वो करते रहते हैं राइट सो आई थिंक अ लॉट ऑफ करना क्या है वाज गिवन बाय देम एंड इस वाले केस में हमें बस उसको इंटेलिजेंटली करना था. इसमें इंटेलिजेंस नहीं थी कि देयर सो मेनी कंस्ट्रेंट्स, सो मेनी डिपेंडेंसीज, राइट. आपको you have to think innovatively how to solve a problem in every and I think it was more of a organization structure problem more than anything else, because at such scale I think in the short span of, there was a time that in a short span of 2 months I hired around 75 people for this project, right. And parallelly shifted base from Mohali to Noida, right. So I think all of that, personally, leadership skills, creating and handling a big team, all of those things that I learned a lot.
Brilliant. So now you moved on from Spice and you joined
Yes,
Truly Madly.
actually, no. So basically, I moved out of Spice thinking I want to do something in blockchain, right. Yeah, I want to explore. I got bored, obviously, again, service. It was ultimately, in the end, it was service, right. And so I think when we met, I had moved on from Umang project, but Mr. Dilip had asked me, okay, you don't want to do service, you don't do that. You work with my office, in the chairman's office, and we'll work on some new technologies, AI, blockchain, and we'll pitch to other countries, we'll pitch to other, big companies, and we'll do some innovative stuff. So we started doing some of that. Then my own was I want to do something in blockchain, so I want to explore the industry more. And I was advising a company called CoinOK. It was a crypto exchange, right. And then that got all ruined because of the regulation and everything that came, right. But then I realized that blockchain as an industry right now, as a technology, it has to evolve. And I am not a guy who will be making the technology. I am a guy who will make the application layer on top of that technology, right. So even though I left at that point of time, I had decided to go into blockchain. I think 2-3 months after, I realized कि अभी नहीं है फायदा. It is going to be 2024, 2025 की game, not right now. Then Sachin was moving back from Malaysia to India, and at that point of time, Truly Madly was somewhat on autopilot for I think more than a year. And Sachin was also thinking of starting something new. And then I started to, so I and Sachin got together, okay, let's do something with Truly Madly again. And I started working on Truly Madly again part-time, right. And this is around, I think, June of 2018. Then by the end of the year, I think I got very much convinced that dating when back when we started back in 2013, 2014, we were way ahead of ourselves. We were way ahead of time. And now, because even back then, I conceptualized the first product, and then I moved to marketing. So I used to head the marketing for for Truly Madly, the digital side, right? And now when I was again running the marketing, I realized that CACs have come down. Brand Truly Madly, holds good equity. People are much more open to dating now. And then I think one insight that came from all the success stories that we keep getting a lot of stories that we met on Truly Madly 3 years back, 4 years back, getting married. And then I thought, yeah, if people are anyway using the app for finding a life partner, why don't we double down on a positioning of we find your forever, then basically Truly Madly forever.
That's a nice t-shirt. You need to send me one of those.
I will after the lockdown. Right now, so even I am stuck with just 2 of these. So नहीं मिल पा रही अभी और. But then I think
that's interesting.
Moving on to Bulbul.
Okay, so Sachin's moved on to Bulbul, and you took over, or kind of you were doing marketing at this point.
So at this point, I was just kind of trying to look around what is there, if we can do something with this. Because from my perspective, it was an asset which can be capitalized, and life में हम जाके salvaging ही करते हैं यार, और क्या करते हैं, चाहे वो उमंग था, चाहे वो GST था, चाहे वो Zimbar था, वो we go and salvage things and try and make something out of it, right? So I was kind of looking at it from that perspective. It's an asset. Can I build a team, improve its value, and then do something about it? So that's how I looked at it. And the answers were positive. We I realized कि यार right now demand for dating is much higher than ever before, and in the next 2 3 5 years it is going to explode, right? uh, in fact, not just demand in dating, the psychological and for example, till 2015 arranged marriages were like, even in my family and cousins, a lot of people, a lot of them, they just uh, got married by the age of 26, 27, and arranged marriage, right? Now that I just 5 years down the line, now you think about it, people don't want to go into arranged marriage setup, right? In fact, yesterday I was watching the latest season of The Big Bang Theory. If you, I don't know if you follow, right? So Raj called his father and told him, I want you to arrange a marriage for me. And his father very aptly said, right, what do you think? It's 2015. Like, it's not 2015 anymore. I cannot just call somebody's father and ask them to marry. It's not 2015 anymore, right? Which I tell a lot of my investors and my advisors that 5 years में इतना change आया, अगले 5 साल में और ज़्यादा है, right? Just 5 years, last 5 years, and thanks to Geo, because information is traveling much faster than ever before. Everybody in India is consuming almost the same content, right? अब कल extraction release हुई है, वो दिल्ली से लेकर के इंदौर से लेकर के चेन्नई से लेकर के कोलकाता, everybody, be it tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 city, everywhere will watch it, right? प्राइम पे कोई सीरीज आती है तो सब देखते हैं, राइट? तो आई थिंक इंफॉर्मेशन काफी डिसेंट्रलाइज हो गई, और किसी के हाथ में डिवाइस आ गया. पहले घर पे एक ही होता था टीवी, और वो भी फादर ही कंट्रोल करते थे, जो वहां पे चलता था वही चलता था, राइट? वो डेमोक्रेटाइज हो गया. आप अपनी you can choose what you want to see, and I think right now we are seeing this phenomenon in tier 1, but very quickly, next 5 years. In fact, there is a report by Google, जो Google का search in year आता है इंडिया का हर साल. So last year's 2020's report said, 2019 report said, even though matrimony queries are 3 times more of dating queries right now, matrimony queries are mota growing at 13% year on year, and dating is growing at around 43 or 40 or something, 46% year on year, right? So and then now
what are people searching?
And
what are people searching? What are people searching on Google on matrimony and dating? Or does
dating
this
brands, dating? So the keywords are dating in Delhi, serious dating, casual dating, right? And ours is so while other apps they target 18 to 24 kind of audience, we target 25 plus. So 70% of our audience is 25 plus, and 80% is 50% is 28 plus. Right?
So once you moved away from, when you moved away from targets 18 to 24, you got a lot of delta in terms of the impact the marketing is having on the 25, 26 plus segment. So does that mean there are fewer competitors, or is just that people don't really care about this audience?
No, I think use case, because most of the dating apps that are out there are casual dating apps, right? If today I decide I want to settle down and I want to look for a partner, ठीक है, it's not an agenda कि मेरे को कल ही शादी करनी है या अगले महीने या 2 महीने में शादी करनी है, but I am open to meet the person, who I am open to think about, living my life with someone. So obviously you can't go on the hookup apps. India mein you can't go to bar and start talking to people. In most cases you'll get a slap or at least a splash, right? You can't and you don't want to go on traditional matrimony website, which are just digital avatar of arranged marriage setups, right? So where do you go? So that was the idea, right? I feel this will become, and especially now that people have graduated from using the hookup apps, right, or casual dating apps, when they decide they want to go look for a serious relationship, where will they go? Obviously they won't go on a traditional matrimony website. Obviously they won't go to a mandir for finding arranged marriage, right? They will come on a platform like us.
So,
and dating anyways, so unlike home services, dating is not a one man standing game, right? And it is actually a for example, Match Group owns Tinder, Hinge, OkCupid, Plenty of Fish,
Did
and
they
20
buy
plus
Bumble as
apps
well?
globally.
Did they buy Bumble
No,
as well?
Bumble was owned by Badoo, and Bumble and Badoo both was bought by Blackstone last year.
Oh wow! So now they're controlled by conglomerates. But I have a question. Going back to your point about people don't graduate from dating apps to a shadi or a matrimony. What is the gap here?
So the gap is serious dating.
So okay, so your
Which is based on compatibility, not on not on caste, not on कुंडली, not on parents' wealth. क्योंकि matrimony websites पे आप देखो तो आज भी parents है mostly, right? And female की side पे देखो तो ये proportion ज़्यादा है. Even male side पे भी है, but female side पे तो there is a very high chance that the सामने जो profile पे बात कर रहे हो parents है, right? So that is I think the product philosophy different है.
So from a shadi.com or a matrimony.com standpoint, why aren't they trying to take over the dating? Because I would imagine they want to create a ramp for themselves of users in the ecosystem, like Match is doing, like buying up platforms.
Well, I think when they will realize it, they will do it. The point is, they are all very old companies now, right? Be it Bharat Matrimony, be it Shadi, be it Jeevan Sathi. Secondly, none of them is run by an entrepreneur, I think, anymore, right? Because they are all now very big businesses. It is a big radical shift, and they are very asset-heavy businesses also, right? There is a call center, there is a shop. It's a very entirely different model, and their CG is different. They are not targeting kids; they are mostly targeting parents, right?
So I get what you're saying. So there's a lot of inherent challenges for moving from what they're doing today, where they're probably earning many thousand crores in revenue by doing exactly what they followed for many years.
Bharat Matrimony earns around 350 crores annually. Shadi earns around 200. Jeevan Sathi earns around 70, 80. So yeah, they are earning good.
And you have all these global players like Tinder, Bumble, OkCupid, and a bunch of other players who are also in the market. And I believe they have extremely high DAUs, MAUs from India. But what challenges are they facing? Are they saying that they're not able to generate revenue from the segment because typically a percentage of all users typically pay for?
I think Tinder is making very good revenue. I think Tinder is making more than Jeevan Sathi or maybe close to Shadi.
So you're saying that a casual dating app in India is generating as much or more than a publicly listed Indian company?
Yeah, easily. Yeah, that's one of the I think $3 billion is their annual revenue. I think $2 to $3 billion globally. So that's it was the most grossing app. Tinder was the most grossing app, I think, for consecutively 2 years in India, right? And that is just Google as a payment gateway. So then
that's incredible.
They don't, right? So Paytm वगैरह तो count नहीं होता उनमें. So
speaking about payment gateways,
from guy side, so I think from cat, yes.
Go ahead. I would love your perspective on the guy's side.
So I think for a casual dating, it's very easy to monetize guys, right? And it is difficult to retain them. It is difficult to provide the value that you promise to deliver after charging them, because ratio skewed है, and casual dating में बहुत ज़्यादा skewed है, and because intent match होना चाहिए, तो वो वही है, मतलब problem सारी वही आती है कि intent from you can monetize from a guy, but then can you deliver what you're promising? वहाँ पे fight आ जाती है, because and obviously you can't. If 80% guys, अगर 80-20 भी ratio, इंडिया का इंटरनेट का ही 70-30 है, right? 80% guys are competing for the attention of 20% girls. You cannot provide value to all 80% of the guys.
So,
right?
But with mobile being more prevalent now, are we still not seeing the gender ratio kind of fill the gap in casual dating?
It is much better than, I don't know about casual dating, but for us it is much better now. It is much cheaper from CAC perspective. and yeah, I think आज से 2014 में जो CAC आता था versus आज मतलब it is like even 10 times cheaper.
So in this space, it's a perception changing now. We're talking about serious dating. Truly Madly is in the space called serious dating, where you're saying the intent is clear that if you're serious about getting married, you're not just playing around. This is a place to come to.
Yeah.
Is that the positioning? And
Yeah.
how is that perception changing? So the ones that don't show up in a shadi or a matrimony, and they're willing to find.
Yeah. So what we saw from
folks.
our data. So in our paid subscription select, there is a so in our select there is a compatibility questionnaire, which is 25 questions we designed with help of some of the top Indian family therapists and psychometricians, and it tells you your compatibility on 6 different dimensions, right? So one of the question in it is, are you looking for something serious, right? And 80% of our users would say yes to this. So it also gave us a perspective from user side of what user is looking for on our platform, right?
Fantastic. So now coming to the current situation where people are locked up at homes, etc., how has this impacted business? Has this increased? Because you would imagine when somebody meets on a dating app or platform, they want to meet or they want to talk, they want to find out who this person is. What is the last 5 weeks look like?
Meeting is a very, so obviously engagement has gone 30%. Almost all metrics are up by 30%. Some are up by more, right? Revenue has actually increased. There was a little peak during the first lockdown, which got corrected during the second lockdown, right? On ARPU levels. But meeting is a very end part of the, if you visualize it as a funnel, from a girl's perspective, if a girl sees 100 profiles, she would like only 10, right? Then out of those 10, conversation happen for only with 5, right? And for every 32 guys she would talk to, she may meet 1, and this was during normal circumstances. So up to ye 32 की जगह बढ़ गया होगा number, right? And anyway we see that how a particular, जो हमारी success stories में से जो pattern निकल के आया है, people meet on TM, they chat on TM for a few days, exchange numbers, go outside the platform, talk on phone or WhatsApp for a few weeks. If things go well, they decide to meet offline in a public cafe or something. If the meeting goes well, they meet again, and then they decide to start a a relationship or a courtship. And 8-9 months down the line, they will involve parents and set up a date for marriage. And the whole process from meeting on TM to getting married takes around 2 years, 3 years, right? So most of mails that we get today are from 3 years back, 2 years back. We met on Truly Madly in 2018, 2017. Some even 5-6 years back.
So it's a long game for them. So for it to become a success story.
And a lot of, yes, and in fact a lot of them it started as a long distance relationship for them, right? For example, a guy in Malaysia, in fact this is काफी थोड़ा long distance, international long distance case है. A guy in Malaysia got connected with a girl in Baroda. They got married, I think, in 2019 end. Then we have a guy from Lucknow, girl from Varanasi, girl from Hoshiarpur, guy from Pune. So a lot of success stories which actually started as a long distance relationship.
So we look at
dating. One case is both people were from Jaipur, same school, but they met when they were both in Bangalore.
That's crazy.
Right?
So he or she found out that the other person is actually single, and hence they're like, okay, let's talk.
Maybe.
So when you look at dating and the apps that currently being created, you mentioned a lot about a lot of this being offline as well. How much from a brand standpoint have you had to look outside of just the platform and web searches, etc., for driving engagement growth. What have you seen has been some of the driving factors for dating and for creating a brand in this space?
Yeah, I think Truly Madly build most of its brand online with the video that we did with AIB, or the Breaking Stereotypes campaign that we did in early 2014, right? Then the Creep Kawali video with AIB. Then a lot of our campaigns got viral, and in fact, recently we did a poetry series with Stage. That also got some of the videos have gotten, I think, around 4 million, 5 million views. I think our strategy has always been online because our customer is online. Even today, I don't. So we did once we did do TVC on English channels in October 2015. But I think even if you ask me today, my preference would be to spend more money online, in maybe in branding, in social media and everything, versus doing an offline campaign.
So you're saying
Because the customer we want,
Go ahead.
Because the customer, I think, what the customer that we want is online. We don't have to, unless we for example, a lot of dating apps, they do offline, पूरा cyber hub में they buy hoarding. In fact, Belvedere में I used to live, right, and उसके बाद फिर Rapid Metro जाती है तो वो ट्रेन पूरी Tinder की ad होती थी, right? So it was like घर पे घुस के मारेंगे. But मेरे को पर्सनली ये लगता है, ऑब्वियसली पैसे भी नहीं है इसमें तो, बट होंगे भी तो मैं शायद ऐसे ऑफलाइन पे आई वोंट एवर ओवरस्पेंड, बिकॉज इट मेक्स मोर सेंस आई थिंक टू कैप्चर द ऑडियंस डिजिटली वर्सेस ऑफ, बिकॉज वो है सब हमारे वाले जो चीजें है सब है यार ऑनलाइन, तो फिर ऑफलाइन जाने की क्या जरूरत है.
No, which has been my question as well, because I've seen right from Bumble, Tinder, and all the players you talked about, they all have hoardings, they have other campaigns that they've done. And do you think that's primarily because of just branding, just to get the word out?
It is branding, but वो CAC नहीं अच्छा रहा, फिर CAC खराब हो जाता है, but then they are the companies who don't have to think about CAC right now. We, on the other hand, every decision that we make, we measure it from a CAC and ARPU perspective. So that's, I think, the difference. And yes, obviously, it's more just branding, nothing else. No,
so TM in the last, Truly Madly in the last few months, you said has grown in revenue, grown in numbers, utilization, all the metrics are looking great. What is the end game now? Is it just 5-10 years? Just continue to go after a matrimony segment and become the go-to place for matrimony, or you'll continue to be with the current branding?
I think we will be a different segment. Matrimony is going to be there. Matrimony will stay, right? Casual dating will stay. We are creating a new new slice in the pie with the serious dating, and which is growing rapidly. I have firsthand seen it in the last 1 year grown, multifolds, both in terms of revenue and in terms of acquisition, right? New registrations. So yeah, I think I don't think there is any end game that we are playing right now. But yeah, I think next 2 years are going to be because our estimation is it will explode in next 2 years, right? So I just want to build a amazing product that when the time is there, we are ready with a very super cool multilingual Bharat enabled product, and people are able to use it and use it happily, and are able to meet compatible partners. That's the game.
No, this is exciting, Snail. I think I've seen your journey do a lot of things. Now you're building a super cool brand with a lot of exciting stuff. I know a lot of our listeners might be wondering, you're growing fast, so are you still hiring in this time? What is your long play? And if they want to get in touch with you, how should they do that?
People who are looking for jobs?
I believe they'll be looking for work now.
Yeah, so we are a very small team of less than 20 people, and I don't think I need a lot of people. We intend to remain a because the smaller the team, you more agile you are, and we are touch wood, we have come to a point now that we have become super agile, right? So much so that sometimes it backfires that we are doing 3 experiments in a day because the whole backend is now configurable. अच्छा इसको भी A/B टेस्टिंग पे कर दो, इसको भी कर दो, फिर समझ नहीं आता अच्छा कुछ गिर गया तो कहाँ से गिरा, राइट? तो but point is that we are, because we are a small team, we are a small very well connected, and सब एक दूसरे से बहुत अच्छे से मतलब connected हैं, and I think I don't plan to ever increase the team size beyond 30 maybe. And abhi so we are only just right now we are just hiring for one junior product position, 2 years type का, but as such hiring spree पे तो हम नहीं जाएंगे मेरे को लगता है कभी भी, because need ही नहीं है, मतलब we will always be this small team doing a lot of stuff and with super agility.
Oh, brilliant. So I believe you're available on LinkedIn and Twitter. I will leave the links
Yeah.
on our show notes if they want to get in touch with you and
Sure.
talk about Truly Madly, and if they're a young product manager
If
looking
anybody needs a free subscription, if anybody needs a free, I keep on giving away free subscriptions to single
All right.
people.
So for listeners of the show, we'll give away free subscriptions. Let's put that also in the show
Yeah.
notes. And Snail's here to help you guys. But this has been great. Thanks so much for your time, Snail. This has been phenomenal. We should talk more about some of the other cool things you've been up to. Maybe on a second part to this podcast. But thanks again.
Sure. Okay. See ya. Bye.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Stars and Startups with me, Varun Bhumidi. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you're single and looking for a life partner, Snail has obliged to give away free subscriptions. Yep, so don't forget to click on the links wherever the podcast has been posted and claim your free subscription to Truly Madly. Do share the episode with your friends and family who too could benefit from hearing from Indian startups, founders, and their journey. Are there any founders who are doing amazing things? Do send me a message. Would love to have them on the show. You can send me also a tweet at Varun Bhumidi. Don't forget to leave me a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast player and subscribe if you haven't already done so. This is Varun Bhumidi signing off.